it's Jay Foss. Today I'm going to talk about the current hero of the month, Zagrog. Before I get into it, I will note that I am a longtime beta player, and I do actually play at least a few raids, sometimes a lot more if it's a complex mechanic, before the heroes come out. So, although I don't have him yet, I'll probably get him, and I have played with him a little bit. He's a rogue class, which is one of the better classes. Going into the passives, he cannot get attack buffs or debuffs, or debuff also being minus attack status ailments. So no plus or minus attack of any kind, including these special attack boosters like Mickey, Wukong, Bertolf, or stuff like that. He can't gain those either, which obviously hurts his Titan value a lot. Resist mana ailments. This has to do with mana generation ailments. So typically regular mana generation would be something like Mist or Little John. Block mana is Proteus and Hell. This is also technically classified as a generation effect, since it's bringing generation essentially to 0. And steal mana is like Onatel. Again, it's technically a generation effect. It's just siphoning off some of what is gained back to Onatel, so he resists all that. He does not resist silence or mindless. Silence, mindless, like with Alfric. Silence, like with Mickey. Hansel and Gretel, whatever that's called. I think it's Witch Hunter. Those are all ailments that block the use of special skills, so he will not resist that. He will also not resist direct mana reduction, which is not a status effect, but it's the little cuts of mana that like Li Zhu and Guinevere and ironically Farron's counterattack do, so it will not block those either. Just like Little John, Mist, Proteus, Hell, and Onatel. Now for the stats, I do catalog all the stats of every hero, including all the different versions. So like the regular version, you have the costume, but you're not wearing it, and then the costume version. And by my count, there are 56 reds, 5 stars, and this attack of 772 ranks 19th, so above average. The defense is 751 across all red 5 stars, ranks 23, so above average. And the HP of 1394 ranks 36th, which is below average. Now getting into the actual special skill. Average speed, so you need a level 23 mana troop from to fire 9 tiles offensively, or a level 17 mana troop with the talent node to fire in 9 tiles offensively. In terms of categorizing this damage, it is minor to nearby instead of the full, but it's a pretty good hit. When I put it in to estimate his damage, I had him a decent amount below Asterius, who's the red Minotaur from Villains, below Kagan with a costume bonus, but not wearing it. Slightly, barely below Crave Crush, which was the new red that prevents reviving that just came out recently. And he's a little bit below Ruby Charge 2. So, that's a pretty good class, though, for damage. It's very, very similar to regular Master Lepus. Now, Lepus will have a costume soon, but just the generic regular Master Lepus. Master Lepus's percentage is a little lower, but his attack is higher, I believe. I believe. So, yeah, his attacks, Master Lepus attacks a little higher, and his percentage is a little lower. But in terms of raw damage, it's going to be comparable to Master Lepus. The attack bypasses defensive buffs, including counterattack. This is to be taken very literally in terms of buffs that actually increase the enemy's defense. It will not bypass shared damage. It will not, if you hit a taunting hero, it'll still hit just the one. If you try to hit Costume Caitlyn, she can still dodge it. So it's very, very literal. So like Freya, Costume Melindor, Marie-Therese. You should bypass the Paladin talent. But it's very literal, affecting defense. So 20% mana if any defensive buffs were bypassed. I did specifically test this in beta, along with the other stuff I just mentioned with the taunt and the Caitlyn stuff. This is 20% total, so if they're running some crazy defense with 5 or 6 buffs, you're just going to get the 20% once, even if you bypass 10 buffs, or, well, it's not that many defensive buffs, but you bypass multiple buffs, it's just 20% flat rate. And the elemental link is slightly helpful, but I mean 10% can help, but it's not amazing. It's something, but it's not amazing. So inevitably the question will always be, do I level this hero, right? And as always, it depends. So Red, up until very recently, was lacking hard-hitting heroes that could charge in 9 tiles on offense. And then Asterius got buffed, right? And Crave Crush just came out, who hits decently hard, 3 heroes. Ruby's fairly new. Even though Zagrog hits slightly harder than Sarosi, the Red Slayer, Sarosi's fairly new. So it does kind of fill a need. I personally have spent thousands, and I don't have any of those heroes I just mentioned. So a hero that hits 3 decently is definitely something I will consider when the time comes, if I'm able to get him. So he does fill a role. I'll also point out that although the little mana cuts of Ferrant, the Ferrant's the 4-star counterattack tank that's wildly popular right now. Those little direct mana reductions you won't resist, but Red doesn't have a Dispel. So if for some reason you're forced to bring Red against Ferrant, he can at least bypass the counterattack if Ferrant fires first. Now there's still better options, but you may not have better options. At least it's something, and since there's no Red Dispel, I could see that being used that way. I'll also point out that Elizabeth and Hannah are still both relatively popular, and between these 2 passives, you'll resist the negative effect of both of their fiends. So Hannah's sort of fading away a little bit. Elizabeth's still pretty popular. But yeah, you could resist those. As far as tournaments, again, it always depends what you got. But I could see him being useful in several different varieties of tournaments. Definitely bloody because of good raw damage and the plus defense for the link. But also potentially buff. I mean, especially in tournaments, you don't always get these perfect top-tier elite defenses, and there could be some defenses that have defensive buffs or counterattack that you have to go through. So I don't think you'll be elite in any of the formats. He's at least decent and probably actually good in Bloody Battle, because Rogue helps surviving, Link helps surviving. He doesn't have to be that worried about counterattack, and he does good raw damage. Titans, because of the negative part of his passive, probably a non-starter on Titans unless you're really desperate. But like, if you have emblems, you might not even have to have emblems. Like Scarlet's going to have a higher base attack, or probably going to have a higher attack if you have emblems on her, and she can get the attack boost. So not being able to do the attack boost is a real downer for Titans, and also potentially for events. Like, you'd want a hard hit 3 at the end if you rank events, and not being able to get the plus attack does definitely hurt a little bit. But yeah, and if you need the raw damage in red, this is a very good option, especially if you can 9-tile him on offense. If you already have those heroes I mentioned, you know, if you have Asterius and you have Ruby and, you know, you have Octros and you have Geffion, then this may not be a hero you need to level. But if you're using like Mitsoku, Mariana, something like that, Captain Kestrel, as your main damage dealers for when you're running red, then this will be an upgrade in that area, because it really is a respectable amount of damage. That just, I think this almost had to be negative so that people would still chase the heroes that are almost impossible to get with like a, you know, 0.3% chance in a portal. So overall, he's solid. If you need a red hit 3, he's definitely a good option. Thanks for watching.